Wednesday evening, everybody. Chief Meteorologist Brad Panovich here for your Wednesday live weather impact. We're tracking not a ton of storms. I'll be honest with you, some isolated storms on this Wednesday evening, but there are some storms out there. We actually have a good view of one. It's we got tail end of it. So this is from our Dallas camera. Actually, really very photographics type storms. I mean, these are photogenic and beautiful storms. This is the kind of you normally see this time of year. Nothing severe about this. There was a little bit of hail, some lightning, but some brief heavy rain falling from this cell. This is up in Catawba County. There's actually a couple cells. They're heading towards Lake Norman and parts of Iredell County. I'll show you where these are and show you how isolated in nature. So a lot of folks don't get excited. There's no widespread severe. There's no crazy outlook for a bunch of strong storms. This is going to be really isolated, and this is kind of what we're seeing. You see these very tiny little cells, one near Statesville, one near Lake Norman. So somebody's getting some water on their lawns. We'll zoom in on this one. This has been moving through parts of Catawba County. This is right near the Gaston, Catawba, Mecklenburg, kind of the three counties come together there, Westport area on 17. So right over Lake Norman. So we've got some pretty good little views of this. I'm seeing James pull up a view from our Speedway camera. That's pretty spectacular. That's looking almost due west, so it's kind of blocking out the sun. But it's nice when you can see the structure. It goes to show you how isolated these are because it's completely clear all around it. There's another view from our camera here at the station. Looks like a little pilot's cap. That's that little wispy cap at the top. That's kind of cool. Little cirrus cap on top. But that's that storm we're looking at right there on radar. Now there's another one north. That one looks pretty good as well. That one's got some cloud-to-ground lightning moving into parts of Cleveland County. So Cleveland County, Rowan County towards Cleveland. The town of Cleveland is in Rowan County, heading towards the northern section of Rowan County. I do know where I'm at. There's that cell. I'll do a quick little track on that because that one's got a little more beef to it. And so just a heads up in Salisbury around 7 o'clock, if it holds together, it should be moving in your general direction. So don't be surprised if you hear a rumble of thunder. That cell was big. I was showing the Doppler slicer on there how big they were. They were getting up 25, 30,000 feet, which is not huge, but for this setup, that's not insignificant. But there's the overall view. There's not a lot of storms out there, so I'm not going to sugarcoat this. We thought we'd see a good batch of rain today. I think Tim and I will talk about the rain chances this morning. There was a big, what we call MCS to the west last night around midnight to 1 a.m., and it decided to take a right turn overnight and go down into Georgia and kind of miss the Carolinas. So we missed out on that rain. We'll have to see tonight. There's another one of these developing to our south, and there's maybe a chance some of that rain sneaks up here. Our Futurecast has been trying to hint at a couple isolated cells this evening, especially as we get later tonight. We'll see if they develop. But remember, sun doesn't set tonight until 8:07, so we still got some time, some heating to go. I think overall, 30% chance of rain, temperatures near 60 tomorrow. After the morning clouds and showers move out, we're completely done, and we should dry out. Now, the Futurecast rainfall shows you, even if it does rain, it's not amounting to much. I mean, this is the thing. We're not even getting normal rainfall right now in the last week, even though we've had rain chances. So we're not putting a dent in the drought because we're not even getting to near normal. So we're still adding to the deficit. We're at a deficit for the week, which means the drought will likely be worse. Now, Saturday, there's another chance of rain. It's an interesting setup. A lot of folks have been asking me about Saturday, are we going to wash out, whatever? Is it going to rain all day? I don't think so. I think it's going to be kind of hit or miss. And here's what's happening. We've got low pressure to the south. Notice it stays to our south and east. So the coast, Charleston to Wilmington, you're going to get some heavy rain, but back inland towards the Piedmont, I don't think we're going to see that much rain, honestly. I think it's going to be kind of light, and if anything, the Saturday will be more known for how cold and clammy it is going to be because it's going to be kind of a wedge setup kind of day. You see the heavy rain to our south over the next 7 days. The Charlotte area, maybe 3/4 of an inch. I mean, if we get an inch of rain, that would be near normal. So we need 1 inch per week just to be near normal. To get out of the drought, we're going to need above an inch of rain per week. So that would help put that in perspective. So here's a look at your Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast. Look how cold I have it on Saturday. Temperatures upper 50s. That's kind of a wedge setup. 50% chance of rain, mainly in the morning and mainly south. Doesn't mean there couldn't be drizzle or mist into the afternoon, but it's certainly not heavy rain or any kind of drought buster. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday looks spectacular. Next week is really nice up until Thursday when we have some scattered storms come through with another front. But next week's the Truist Championship out at Quail Hollow. It looks amazing, actually, for this time of year, not to have crazy thunderstorms that will take the rain and not to have crazy heat or humidity. It actually looks very pleasant as we go into next week. So really only 2 rain chances in the next 10 days, Saturday morning and then again next Thursday. Remember, the farther out we go, the less likely the rain chances are going to be set in stone. You got to check back with us as we get closer to that time frame. So stick around. Coming up after the break, Tim Buckley's going to join me. Obviously, we'll talk about the storms that are out there that we're tracking this evening, and we'll talk about the drought because tomorrow is a big day. The drought monitor comes out. We'll be back coming up in about 2.5 minutes.
Weather Impact Live with Brad Panovich is sponsored by Moisture Lock. Crawl space, basement, and foundation repair experts serving the Carolinas since 1988.
Tired of all this rain? Does your yard look like a swamp after it rains? Hi, I'm Greg Doggett with Moisture Lock, Charlotte's premier waterproofing and foundation repair company. The longer water sits, the softer soil will become. This can cause foundation issues. If you're having drainage issues, contact Moisture Lock. We'll get the water away from your home and out of your yard.
Moisture Lock, stabilize, enhance, protect.
Welcome back, everybody. It's the middle of the week. Tim Buckley joins me. I'm back in the saddle tonight here, Tim. I think we were a little more excited this morning for some widespread rain. I had to kind of tell everybody that didn't really happen. We had an MCV, which is kind of, I don't know if you looked at the long-range loop from this morning, but we had a big cluster of storms to the west, and it took a nice dive right turn down into Georgia and just completely missed the Carolinas, which does happen this time of year. But sometimes you see those things to the west, and you're like, oh, that's heading our way. But we just could not catch a break with that rain this morning.
Yeah, we were chatting about that last evening here on the show with Brittany, and we were watching how it was moving. I was like, it's due west to us, and that's not always a good thing. A lot of times it can kind of go right of the flow. And we actually were a little caught off guard by Tuesday. And if you look back at that loop, those were ones that were way up in Kentucky. Well, they dove right also, but that brought them right into us. And so we had a good part, and then we had a bad part. And, that them's the break sometimes, I guess. A select lucky few tonight could get really poured on. But it's we've been watching these. I mean, I had to emphasize there's isolated, Tim, and then there's tonight. This is like lone storms. It's like isolated doesn't even do it justice. But the crazy thing about these type of storms, Tim, these are the ones where people think they live in a bubble because everybody can see and hear these because it's completely sunny around these, right? So you got a great view of it. True. And we had a pretty good view from our Dallas camera. You can see it's kind of behind our pole. But this was actually have a pretty nice little rain shaft. It has cloud to ground lightning. And I got several reports from Hickory, Newton, Conover area of dime-size hail. And there was actually a special weather statement for this one as well. So this is real funny when I always show this. So our Dallas camera is looking towards Denver, not Dallas, Texas. Dallas in Gaston County, and Denver is in Lincoln County. So we've got a Dallas and a Denver that aren't in their typical place, and Westport, which is on the west side of Lake Norman. So you get the views there, and Tim, they're gorgeous views. I mean, I was telling James, if we had mini supercells today, it would be a good day to chase because the visibility is so good. These are all by themselves, and the sun is backlighting them, and it is a good day to take pictures of clouds.
Here's the video from earlier, Tim and Brad. This was the storm about 30 minutes ago before it got out of the view of our tower camera, so that's what we were watching.
Yeah, so you can see, Tim, it had a nice little rain shaft, and I actually could see the hail shaft briefly. I saw some white from up there, so that's usually a sign that maybe there's some hail coming down. But, yeah, you're right. Somebody under there is getting a nice soaking, and everybody else is going, where's my rain?
For sure, and you can see the shear a little bit too, right? With the structure of it, how it's a little bit tilted. That's beneficial to storm structure and keeping them organized. We have a lot of those ingredients on the checklist in place for today. I was just looking at the dew points; they're up to about 63, 64, 65 in some spots. So there's low level moisture, there's warmth. There's just not maybe enough upper level support. With that low pressure is pretty far north of us, kind of up in West Virginia and Ohio and everything like that. So we're a little removed from the main system, but still some hail this evening, some damaging winds can't really be ruled out. It's just the exception rather than the rule. Most of y'all watching are going to be fine and say, well, what storms? I didn't see any of those in my area.
Yeah, especially when you're begging for rain. This is a tease for a lot of folks to see these and not get much on. But you're right. There is a lot of low-level shear. We've got the low-level moisture. But what we're not seeing is these updrafts can't maintain themselves because the upper levels aren't helping us out. We're not getting these. But if one can get going, you need just enough lift or enough heating. You need something else to kind of kickstart these. And it looks like that lone one is the one that's had the best structure. And it briefly got up to 35,000 feet, I believe, at one point, which was just high enough to produce lightning. That's the other tell here, Tim, is when you don't see a big burst of lightning, you know it's not getting tall enough to tap into some colder air at the top. And anytime I see a lightning jump, I know that updraft's pretty vigorous. We've only seen maybe a handful of lightning strikes so far.
Yeah, and so for a lot of people, the lightning drought really kind of continues. Some people got it the other morning on Tuesday morning. Some folks were able to enjoy or maybe get startled by hearing some of that. But overall, it's still been a tough spring to hear any of that sort of thing in our region. So a little rare. But these small little storms, it looks like maybe that 9 to 10 o'clock time frame, if you're watching from my area up in Greensboro, we'll probably watch that 8, 9, 10 o'clock time frame a little more carefully than we are right now.
Sure.
If anything's going to happen, it'll probably be right along that cold front, and that's when that's happening. So we'll be watching for that. And they might take a little while to get going. So maybe once they hit the Raleigh area, they get a little bit more organized. But on the flip side, at that point in time, you're a few hours removed from sunset.
Yeah.
So take your pick on what's the best place to be. It's just a low-end threat. It's a lower-end severe weather threat for sure.
Yeah, you could tell it's been a drought for everything for us because we're getting excited about the lowest of low-end thread here because, normally this would just be another spring day, no big deal. But, this spring, this has been the rarity. You're right. I think along the front, the front's the one thing that could kickstart those updrafts a little more. But you're right, the timing. I mean, we do have an 8:07 sunset down our way, so we do have some time. But once you get, like you said, 9 o'clock, about an hour after sunset, that's when the heating really falls off. You really lose some of that warmth. So I think further east in Raleigh, I think the thing that helps them out is they got a little bit deeper or richer moisture out there that might help them a little bit. I'm looking at the dew points, and there's some lower 60s. Yeah, everybody's got pretty much the same. Low 60s, which has been a rarity too. I haven't seen many 60-degree dew points this spring, which is really a sign of how dry it's been. But Tim, real quickly, we had this rain the other day. We had a Tuesday morning,
Sure.
which wasn't much. I drove in it. We did the IWT here in town, which is a integrated warning team with our weather service partners and emergency management, and it was coming down pretty good, but we only got a quarter inch. And so it really wasn't that much. It kind of reminded me of the weekend when it felt like it rained more than it did, and it was only like 1/10 of an inch. But let's be honest, like the drought monitor comes out tomorrow. We had 2 rain chances, but it really isn't going to do much for the drought, Tim. I think droughts are so weird. I'm getting a lot of people that just don't understand, like when it rains one day, they think it should be over. And I have to remind people, we're not even getting normal rainfall in the past 7 days, let alone for the last 6 or 7 months. And so we got to get back to just normal, even to make a dent in the drought. So I don't expect any change in the drought monitor tomorrow. Do you?
Probably not. It's certainly not going to get better, I wouldn't think. You could maybe see them even making it worse, I suppose. Yeah. Probably holding the same, I guess, if I had to bet on it. I would imagine it'd be about the same as what it was last week. But you make a good point. And, in any given month throughout the year, we average between about 3 to 4 inches of rain.
Yeah.
And so we haven't been getting an inch of rain a week. That's kind of what we need to have, about an inch of rain a week. We haven't been doing that even this week, right? And so we'll see what happens on Saturday, but really there's not much opportunity to get back to that average time frame. So all of those things are still in place, even if your yard's a little wet. The burn ban's still in place, all that stuff, and with good reason, because all we've maybe done is temporarily lower the wildfire risk.
Yes.
And that's partly because of the rain, but also just because our temperatures haven't been so high, the winds haven't been so high, we've had more clouds. All of those things have worked in our favor also.
Yeah, and I think the one thing I've noticed a lot more people are talking about the drought. I feel like in the last week or so, and I think that has to do more with the water restrictions becoming more of a thing. And that's one thing, Tim. That's one of the indicators for the drought monitor. Even if we get rain, but if water restrictions become more voluntary, mandatory, if you will, in certain jurisdictions, that would actually be an indicator where they would increase the drought level, because that's one of the things they look for are water restrictions in place. When you get this kind of rain, it might briefly help your lawn or your garden, but if you're not replenishing stream flows and reservoirs, then you're still having water supply issues, which I think is the bigger story, especially going into the summer when everybody starts using more and more water.
Sure, and that's a really good point. And this is the time of year that usually you would kind of be building up to have your water supply for the summertime, and the fact that we're not doing it puts us in a big hole and kind of a bad situation. Now, looking ahead to the weekend, it might be pretty good for some people. Maybe not us, but South Carolina, the coast. There could be some areas that really cash in on some good rainfall on Saturday. And I joked with Brittany yesterday. It's I feel like we're tracking a winter storm almost.
Yeah.
Like, here's track A and track B. How far north is the low going to get? And that determines who gets, in this case, the rainfall.
Yeah, it's unfortunate because, like I did during our shows earlier tonight, I'm like, the track's too far south. We need it to shift north a little bit. So, somebody to our south is going to get some. I think the low country, like Charleston and Wilmington, probably going to get some pretty good rain. So parts of the Carolinas will get soaked. What I think is really interesting about Saturday, Tim, and I started diving in this a little bit more today, it almost looks like a hybrid wedge type setup on the backside of that low. Yeah. And I'm wondering if a lot of folks are going to struggle to get out of the 50s on Saturday because of the clouds, maybe drizzly, misty, and kind of northeast winds. So it might be the cold and dampness might be more of a thing than the heavy rain. It might feel like it's rained a lot more than it has, especially in the Piedmont.
I was given some wedding advice to a planner today. It's an afternoon wedding on Saturday, and they're like, I'm looking at the app, it doesn't show rain. I was like, I get it, but you need to be prepared for it to be 55 and maybe drizzly.
Drizzly, yes.
At best, right?
Yeah.
That could be the best case outcome here. I've lowered us to like 61 for the high around here. Just, we were kind of like that today, Brad. Up until about 2 p.m., we had clouds and drizzle until that wedge front broke to the north. We get that a lot in the spring usually. We just haven't had it much this year, but it took a while today.
Yeah, it's you get those clouds. This is the kind of year the kind of time of year where you do get those big swings. If the sun comes out in the afternoon, you could jump to 80. If it stays cloudy, you're stuck at 60 all day. What's really fascinating, Tim, to kind of show, I love that you're comparing the two models. But when you look at our 7-day rainfall forecast from the WPC, which we show a lot, it really kind of shows the storm track just to our south, and it's like, can we just tug that up a little bit further north? Because at least there's some hints. I mean, around Charlotte to Raleigh, it's 3/4 of an inch. And you made a good point. This is like my rule of thumb, too. I want to see an inch per week at least. That's kind of the break-even point for us for your lawn and just like keeping everything green and lush. And we're getting closer to that, too. There's at least a hint that we might be close to that. But, boy, I'd love to see that closer to an inch for the entire area. And it looks like unless that trough, doesn't dig as deep and we get the pulled north, I think it's going to be, I think as much as everyone's apps think that it's going to rain or it's not going to rain Saturday, I think a lot of folks will be very disappointed in the amounts, not so much the outcome.
Right. I'd take the under on rain amounts, but probably the over on like outdoor event impacts. I don't think it's a good day to be outside doing things.
Correct.
Sunday is.
Yep.
But you're probably, just like last week, probably going to be under 1/4 of an inch of rain in my area, and maybe a little more for you. But I don't know, man. Not all that much. So we'll take what we can get. We're not being picky.
We're up by Davidson and Cornelius in northern Mecklenburg County.
All right, so there's some rain. We actually can see some rain on our DOT camera. It's feels like a foreign thing to see raindrops on there. The other day we had a 1/4 inch on the morning commute, and it was pretty impactful because I just think people forgot how to drive in the rain, too. I was like, it really wasn't that heavy, but I just think people were like, what is this? What's this liquid falling from the sky? And it kind of caught people off guard. And, the one thing that is interesting, like when you go dry for such a long period of time, there is a thing about the first rain after a dry spell that you get kind of that oily slick on the road surface because oil and other petroleum products have built up from tires and everything else. So when you get that first rain after a long dry spell, sometimes it is a little bit slicker on the road surface until you kind of wash some of that residue off. And it's nice to see rain on the camera. We actually have rain over the northern part of Mecklenburg County. This is near the lake. Everyone's driven that area. There's the express lanes or the I-77 toll lanes. They're going over the lake. So it looks like traffic's moving good. So people here know what they're doing.
Good stuff. Yeah, it's that whole Southern California effect, right? Where we make fun of them because they can't drive in the rain, but sometimes it's slicker because it only rains once a month or something, and they have that oily, messy buildup. I'm kind of encouraged. We're seeing a decent line setting up along I-81 in Virginia. Yeah. If that drops to the south and to the east, we'll get some action out of that this evening up this way. It's just a question of, how much staying power does it have? A lot of these storms are falling apart. There was one near Statesville that fell apart. We had a little one near Asheboro that fell apart also. So, we'll see what happens. You're not hearing the confidence in our voices here this evening for a reason. When we're in a drought. We're going to keep on forecasting drought until proven otherwise, I think. That's kind of the way it goes.
Yeah, you get bitten so often from the bust on the rainfall, and it's really, Tim, it's just not this week. It's been like every front, I feel like, for the last couple of months. You're like, you see a pattern. Oh, it looks like it's going to be wetter. And as we get closer and closer, you're like, it's not that good, But I do think something has changed, at least in the pattern, because they're getting closer. We are getting some rain finally. I just think it's going to be like a process to kind of break down this ridge and kind of get us out of this pattern. My real worry is we basically got May to do that, and then we're in the summer months, and then the fronts shut off and the low pressure systems go away, and you're just stuck with pop-up afternoon storms. So unless we get an MCS track set up with a ridge, we've got a month to get some real inroads into the drought before we get into the summer.
Yeah, we've had some progress, like you said, and toward the end of next week, I know we just looked at the 7-day rainfall, but if it was like an 8-day rainfall map, there's another decent chance like next Thursday, Friday, right?
Yeah.
So we are getting into that more regular pattern if we can take solace in that. But it's just going to be a process. It's like, we talked about months ago, if you were in big debt, if you got, 20 grand of credit card debt, you're not going to pay that down all at once. It's probably going to take you a while to kind of chip away. We just kind of have to chip away at this a little bit and hopefully improve near-term conditions a little bit more, get rid of the fire risk, number one, that would be great, and then kind of fill up the lakes and creeks and streams and all of those things, step two. We're still going to have a long-term rain deficit for months, barring some big event coming into our area.
Yeah, it's all baby steps. Like you said, we've eliminated, not completely, but we've kind of squashed the wildfire risk, at least for now. So that's something. It's better than nothing, and it certainly helps to see that. And if we can just get some regular rain, at least the lawns and gardens would get a little break. And if that helps reduce people watering, that would be another benefit because it would stretch our water supply longer into the summer months. So hopefully that's the trend. But we'll keep an eye. I think tomorrow we'll probably have a little bit better handle on the weekend forecast. But I think either way, Tim, I agree with you. I think it's not going to be the greatest day on Saturday. It's going to feel like it rained a whole bunch, and then we're going to look at our rain gauges and go, yeah, it really wasn't that much rain.
Not all that much rain, no. So track the storms with us tonight. You'll see if we get a stray shower tomorrow morning as well.
Yeah.
And then we'll watch your Saturday rain chance after that.
All right, stay safe, everybody out there. If we get any warnings, of course, we'll have them for you right here. So stick around. We've got more news coming up right after the break.